Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
We're in Way Media. Welcome back to Midnight Viewing, where this season we're taking a look at George Romero's 1980s series, Tales from the Darkside. Sharing the Midnight View with me are the Culture Cast Chris Stachiw.
I don't know how y'all know about this, but Stephen King's mighty popular.
Also with us is the Projection Booth's Mike White.
It's so good to see you, man.
Oof.
Jesus, mother. Yikes.
And
Mike White just got canceled, everybody.
We are taking a look at the next two episodes of Season 4, the final season of Tales from the Darkside. Those are Sorry, Right Number and Payment Overdue. Sorry, Right Number, Season 4, Episode 9, originally aired on November 22nd, 1987, written by Stephen King and directed by John Harrison, starring Deborah Harmon and Arthur Taxier. This is an original teleplay by Stephen King, not based on any original material, but it would be collected in his book Nightmare and Dreamscapes as a teleplay years later. Really funny. Before we get to everyone's opinion on the episode, I read several reviews of this story by users on various platforms complaining that this episode was not as good as the short story. The short story that's just the teleplay that was published years after this came out. Anyway, what'd you think of this one, Mike?
Oh, I remember Word Processor of the Gods was a really good episode, wasn't it? Can we talk about that instead?
No.
More pastoral times then, weren't they, Mike?
Good Lord. You just have it going across the bottom of the screen. If not that I need to be told what the twist of this is, because as soon as it happens, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's her calling from the future. All right, great. Yeah. And nothing else really matters. Yeah. God. Chris, what'd you think?
Did you have a notion of a way to talk about the episode? Jesus Christ.
No, not at all.
Um,
It's tough, man.
yeah, it's not good. It's not that it's not good. It's just what was the point? It's like just you can't change the past. Correct. Thank you, Steven. Play us out now. Bum 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 bum. Like I guess I don't understand what I'm missing because it feels like I'm missing something. It feels like those Rod Serling episodes of Twilight Zone where he's like clucking his tongue. Like what there I got it. Here I'm just like what am I missing? Spend time with your loved ones. Yes. Don't take them for granted. Yes. People, when a certain thing happens, they're remembered of another thing happening. Yes, like I get that inherently now as someone who's dealt with some pretty serious things in the last like year and a half. I get it, but that that payoff is unearned. There's that moment in this episode where she picks up the VHS and plays it, and she all of a sudden is having these like black and white flashbacks, which by the way, that's not how it happens in my mind anyways. It's just it's in color. If I'm having a flashback to something that's happened in the past, it's not in black and white. So it's very weird that that's always a convention that's used. Like I get it though because we have to distinguish it somehow from the fact that we've already seen it. But I get what they were going for and mining at and driving at. I just the end of the episode doesn't capitalize on it. There's a nugget of something. I think we can feel it. The three of us can feel that there is something here to this episode. It's just I don't think Stephen King gets to it, which is weird because he's the one that wrote it. So it's like, why aren't you getting to the point of your own story? It's almost like a story without a point. It needed like one or two more passes of Stephen King actually like putting in the time and effort to finish the story. It feels almost unfinished. It's fine, but it's no word processor of the gods.
Sometimes your grief is so strong that it can bridge a gap through time. I think that's all he was trying to say with it. I just think he took 22 minutes to do it. Has there been a survey conducted about how many protagonists in Stephen King short stories are writers? Because this is
Thank you. Yes.
He loves to write about himself, Father Malone.
But let me tell you something. Like, at least with, say, the lead character in Salem's Lot, it's a single guy on his own. There's some remove from Steve. This is Deborah Harmon as Tabitha King and Arthur Taxier as Stephen King. And
Absolutely.
They have two kids, and he's a novelist with a popular novel. I'll like to point out that although the character is supposed to be multi-novelist, they only keep referring to Spider's. That's probably Stephen King tipping his hat to Harlan Ellison, who had a novel called Spider's Kiss, which I believe is a takedown of Elvis Presley.
They stole my story. Pay the writer.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was not a nod to Secret Wing.
Oh, no. That's Mr. Ellison himself.
You stole my story.
So not only that, okay, so we've got Stephen King basically just like, it feels like he just looked around one night and go, wouldn't it be weird if I was going to have a heart attack and Tabitha called? I'll just write that. There it is. It's done. So it's so meta and self-reflexive, but ultimately just padding to get us to the Twilight Zone twist. And John Harrison, I got to say, in more than one thing that he's directed has included that clip from Dawn of the Dead, which is here standing in for the film adaptation of Spider's Kiss that the Stephen King character is watching. And he not only includes that particular clip of Dawn of the Dead because that's him. John Harrison is the zombie who gets the screwdriver into the brain in
Wait
Dawn
a second.
of the Dead.
I thought this was directed by John Sutherland.
Another thing that's weird is that, like, I need to talk to John Harrison because I do not understand why he, on occasion on this series, will use a pseudonym. Did he feel like he was doing too much or too little? Or I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to take his name off it. Could be that.
Wouldn't that be shocking given the quality of this episode? I love that this is essentially also Proto-Frequency. Remember that movie with Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid where he's able to talk to his father in the past?
Both of those guys have lost their minds over the last little bit too. Wow.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We all go a little mad sometimes, as Stephen King would say.
Do you guys know the actress Arden Marie?
Not offhand.
She's a comedic actress. On Halloween night, I went to a night of ghost stories at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in Los Angeles, and it was hosted by Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben Garant. And Arda Marin told this sort of spooky story. Everyone told sort of paranormal stories that had happened to them. And Arda Marin told a story where it involved an answering machine message of this harried voice, like warning her, like not to use her bicycle, that there is something wrong with them. And as it turns out, there was something wrong with the bicycle, but she could not explain the message or who it came from. And found out later from her boyfriend, like he said, you got up in the night and called a number and was warning somebody about their bicycle. She had called herself.
Whoa.
That's fucked. That's all you can say to that shit, right?
Yeah, that's great.
The Aristocrats. You landed the story. That's horrifying.
I got chills when she told it. I got chills retelling it to you. Horrifying.
I got chills from you fucking telling it right now. And here's the thing. To your point, Father Malone, like, that's what this is driving at. It should have given you that moment. But it's so fucking obvious. Question, would it have worked better if you didn't hear the voice on the phone when she answers it at the beginning?
Maybe, but when I know that voice and
Right.
it had to be somebody that I'm related to or something. I'm just like,
that's the thing. She kept hammering, I'm related to it. So it's, so it's you.
Okay.
And it doesn't help that Deborah Harmon has a very distinct voice.
So that's the other question. And this is, again, I didn't want to ask this part of it because I think the three of us are a little biased. It would be hard for me to answer the phone and hear my own voice and not immediately go, what the fuck am I doing hearing myself talk? Because like you just said, Mike, Deborah Harmon has a very distinct voice. And I can't place this voice. This is supposed to be 1987, not 1940s. The phone technology at this time is meant to be like acceptable enough that they've never really called it into question in this kind of way before. So now we're led to believe that this woman doesn't recognize her own voice, but she recognizes it enough to know that it's someone related to her. Like, it needed to be, I don't know what it needed to be, but
what it needed was, at the end, we needed to know the exact span of time, because when he has the heart attack that night and she receives she has a little girl. When we jump forward, that little girl is getting married. So we got to assume there's like a 20-year difference. So it's there's 20 years of aging, and she's completely grief-stricken and choked up as she's making the call. So that actually makes sense to me. Unfortunately, as you said, Mike, Deborah Harmon has a very distinctive voice. And I remember even as a kid recognizing that it was her talking to her, and the whole twist was blown.
Does it say how long at any point it's been in between those times?
No. It needed a title card 20 years later.
She says something like, your dad passed away, because it was the exact same day that he had passed.
They did say
10 years, maybe? I don't remember.
It doesn't make, and that's the other thing. It's only been like a couple years, because it's not the girl that we're seeing. It's the older daughter that has gone away already, isn't it? Because there's another daughter in all of this that we don't see, and that's the one that's getting married at the end, because it hasn't been that long.
Oh, there is a daughter at college.
That's what the part that makes no sense at all. That's what I'm getting at. Like, none of this makes any sense. It's almost like Stephen King overcomplicated this for no reason, when it's like so obvious what this should have been, which is exactly what we're talking about, where it's like 15 years, 20 years, and then she didn't recognize her voice because it's an older woman, and that's why she doesn't recognize her voice. It's because it's an old lady. And there you go. Like with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, no matter how much you de-age Harrison Ford, and yet you still gave him the voice of an 80-year-old man, which we could tell the moment he opened his voice or opened his mouth and the voice came out. Like, it should have just been an old lady. And she's like, I don't recognize her, but she must be someone related to me. But all my grandparents are dead. My mom and dad are dead. That's how you shore this up. And then it makes perfect sense why she doesn't recognize it, but also it can't be an older family member. There you go. Not this. It could be my sister. Let's go check in on her.
Because she immediately calls her mom, and her mom's, "Wow, what are you talking about?" And it's okay. Yeah, had her mom been dead already, that would have, even if the mom had been dead, maybe recently dead, and was calling with a warning or something. I don't know.
Here's what it should have been. The daughter calling from years later because the mother has committed suicide because she's so fucking grief stricken over the mom, over the dad being dead. So it was the daughter calling. It's just the daughter from the future. So when she calls her daughter and says, "What are you doing? Why did you call?" She's like, "I didn't call you. What are you talking about?"
There you go.
Yeah. That's even more dark. Jesus. But at the same time, to be fair, I think Father Malone, probably to the point that you're trying to make, like, this episode doesn't go far enough either. For it being a Stephen King thing, it does seem kind of toothless in a way that, like, Stephen King stuff. I'm not saying Stephen King is always pushing the envelope. Like in the last episode, we talked about Clive Barker, who does push the envelope. Stephen King's not always pushing the envelope, but this is a little tame even for Stephen King. This is tame for this show. Like, for this specific show, like, this show has gone darker than this. We had this in this show, I believe a phone strangled a woman to death.
Sure did.
Sure did. I appreciate what the end of this episode is meant to signify with the phone swinging and, oh my God, the monster moment. I can't change anything, but it's not earned. It's not earned in the way it thinks it earns it.
Yeah. It just thinks it's a lot smarter than it is.
Peak 1987 Stephen King.
Yeah, he ebbs and flows. I just got done listening to Lears and I was like, that was very effective. I was very happy with the way that it went. But he's all over the map. It was especially post accident. But then there were times where he was just drugging and drinking like crazy, and you could really tell it in his fiction.
This is the same year as It. This comes out the same year as It. It came out in 1987. So this is him, like, I don't know if this is Father Malone. You assume this is post It? Like, he like wrote this around the same time as It. So it doesn't feel
He probably
as
wrote this in between chapters.
right.
True,
Like,
yeah.
it's like this feels as all over the place as some of those worst moments in It, where it's like, what the fuck are we going 8 different directions at once? This feels that same thing where it's like just not a focused idea. And Stephen King works best when his stuff is like hyper focused.
His stuff works best when it's short fiction, except this one is not great.
No, it's a tell.
Like, as
I don't know.
as up and down as his literary career has been, with the Tommy knockers not being, he doesn't remember writing because of the fucking cocaine haze, or I think the Dark Tower series was always consistent. I think some of his novels are wildly, the quality sort of swings wildly, but no matter what, anytime he puts out a book of short fiction, they're always bangers every single time.
Agreed.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, I will echo that. I tend to say that Stephen King is the short story master because he has a hard time ending. And I don't know if it's ending his long form stuff or if it's just finding us a moment to stop. He just can't find a way to stop saying things. Finds like 8 conclusions and he's like, I'm not going to pick one. So they give me carte blanche at this point because I'm Stephen King to give all 8. But it's been like that for a really long time. So at this point, not every look, as bad as Sell the movie is, Sell the book's ending was like, there was one ending. Like, there are some books out there where it's just one ending, but then you have something like It where it's like there's 8 different.
Yeah, it's funny that for me, I've never read It, and I don't know which one is longer, but for me, one of his longest books, The Stand, of his best books. And it's just he's given so much time to develop those characters that you really feel like you know every single one of those people. The Stu Redmond and all of those people. It's just, yeah, I feel for these people. I can see these people in my mind. Also, one of the worst, I can't say worst adaptations because there's been 2, and both of them I've not been a fan of.
I'm actually get through the second one.
Oh, yeah, I can't blame you there. That was rough.
I'm excited for that Stephen King TV show that's based on essentially the ephemera from It, the in-between parts of It, the like history chapters, because while the story of It, yeah, the story of It is great, there's a lot of other stuff that could be mined. And that's, again, like a world that Stephen King has created, like you said, Mike, with a level of intricacy and direction that give other people the opportunity to play in it who can yield to those rules within reason, but also do their own thing, has the opportunity to be interesting. And it's going to be, get this, that show is going to be, every season is a different like year. So it'll be anthology adjacent.
Very
so
Noah Hawley. Yeah.
Yeah. So good. Like, again, like Stephen King's stuff works best when it's short form and it's being adapted seemingly like by people that get it. If you don't get Stephen King stuff, don't adapt it. Mike Flanagan gets it in a way that like nobody else ever has, is I think anyways.
Well, I don't know about that.
I think Frank Darabont is up there as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think David Cronenberg did a pretty good job with the Dead Zone.
Fuck yeah. It's so weird how great those 70s adaptations were. Like 70s even into some of the early 80s. They were just, was it the material itself, or was it just they gave the directors free reign? And so many different types of directors, like freaking De Palma versus Cronenberg, but both of those are just so freaking solid. And man, oh man, I so many of those early King adaptations I thought were just dead on. And of course, then right in the middle between those two, I believe, with the fucking Shining, Jesus Christ, talk about a classic.
That begins the decade and it ends with Misery, which is also a fucking good movie. And speaking of the breadth of the filmmakers, Rob Reiner, Stanley Kubrick, John Carpenter, David Cronenberg.
I say Mike Flanagan only because, and this Father Malone again, I agree with you that there are other people that would lay claim to it. But I guess my reasoning for saying Mike Flanagan is Mike Flanagan has turned it in consistently several times. And that's the most impressive thing, because he went from something like Gerald's Game to, which Gerald's Game that is a great story and then a great adaptation of the story. But for me, and this is the thing that I was most surprised by, Dr. Sleep is a really good movie. And the extended version of that movie is really, really good. I didn't give it any credit the first time I saw it, but it's really good. I would watch anything Mike Flanagan does with Stephen King. And that's, I think, because, again, for me, he's shown that he can do the consistency. And again, maybe if others were given an opportunity to do more, they would have been able to do it. I'm not saying they weren't, but all we can do is speak to where we are now, which is Mike Flanagan can turn in a Stephen King adaptation better than, I think he's up there with the best of them, if not the best.
Humbly disagree. I think he's the best fan of Stephen King who's making stuff. I think he's the best filmmaker who was raised on making Stephen King stuff. I don't think he should be laying claim to quite so many of the properties he seems to be fucking announcing every fucking day, because I guarantee you there are other young filmmakers out there who could probably fucking kill some of those.
I got even more controversial.
Who's doing Christine? Because that's the one I'm excited.
I was going to say, why don't we just adapt any other motherfucking horror writer out there, as if there's anybody else who starts with a K, Dean Koontz or Clive Barker, anybody. There's so many good horror novels out there that get no love outside of them being novels, which is fine. Go read. Reading's great. But there are other horror writers than, and I guess to be fair, Bram Stoker is in that conversation, because how many adaptations are we going to get of Dracula from here until eternity?
Well, that's the thing. How many bad Stephen King adaptations are there? For every fucking Shining, there's a Graveyard Shift.
Thinner.
The Mangler.
Yeah, I mean, it's on and on.
Yeah.
It's
speaking of the Dark Tower, I think the most the egregious one of egregious ones.
Isn't it weird that we live in a time where two of the bigger releases this fall are going to be Stephen King short story adaptations, between The Long Walk and then the new version of The Running Man?
Yeah, which are basically the same story.
Right?
Pretty much, yeah. Well, one's walking, the other one's running.
Glenn Powell's going to show up in both, though. Fingers crossed, anyways.
Quit filming me!
Yeah, God.
The future is forced entertainment.
The future is Stephen King.
The future is overdue. Payment Overdue. Season 4, episode 10.
That was an amazing trailer.
Thank you. Now, the last episode aired in November. This one aired on Valentine's Day in 1988.
How romantic.
Written by Dick Benner, directed by John Drury, starring Maura Swanson, Lewis Arlt. Lewis Arlt wrote for the TV show Loving, a soap opera featuring Randolph Mantooth. The show had a total of 642 episodes. Arlt is credited on 490.
Wow.
Also, as a voice on the phone, Awanda de Jesus. Oh, one thing I want to point out about this episode, because I noticed it right away. The score is a pretty groovy electronic score throughout. There are several beds that I found to be very interesting. So I wanted to find out who wrote the music in this one. Pat Irwin, this was his first sort of score. He was a musician playing in bands. In 1989, he joined the B-52s for their Cosmic Tour, and then was their keyboard player for the next 20.
Nice.
And now is the composer on all of the various iterations of Dexter, including the actual popular one, Dexter Resurrect. He's still out there fucking killing it. So good for you, Pat Irwin. Probably the best thing into this episode. This is look, it's a bite or get bit, man. It's the same fucking story we've seen 1,000 times. This one's about a collection agent who pushes a woman to death and then gets the same treatment. Felt a lot like the Twilight Zone movie, the John Landis story. Felt shades of that, shades of other episodes of Tales from the Dark Side from earlier in the season. Chris, take it away.
Reminded me of that one day we'll get there. One day I'll wear you down enough, Father Malone, that we'll do that 2000 Twilight Zone show. It reminds me of the first episode of the 2000 Twilight Zone show where the guy from the Invisible Man TV show becomes black because he didn't let a black man into his car who was in the rain. That's what this feels like. It's like that just so heavy-handed, forced, high horse moral bullshit. I get it. But we have a friend who used to work for a collection agency. That friend being Jess Byard. I don't wish death upon them because they had to call someone, and there was a misunderstanding. This is a bogus episode. I don't like these kinds of stories because it's always a contrived misunderstanding. And this is no different. This is very contrived. I like it was Archangel Michael all along. And now you're the woman. And then that's punishment. So what is like the actual message of the episode? If it's punishment to be these people, but we're supposed to care about these people per the episode, making us care about somebody any less than someone else by making the woman like El Salvadorian for some reason. It's an otherism episode. It's a very morally weird episode, and I was not a fan. I was not a fan. And by the end of it, I was like, I'm glad that this shit's over. But like you said, Father Malone, we've seen things like this. And we
saw it last season with a yuppie with a Hindu man who was mysteriously living in his apartment.
Much better episode, and we didn't like that episode either.
Right. Stop clucking your tongue at this fucking show. I just want to enjoy this show when I watch it, not feel like it's screaming at me like, you need to do better as a person. Yeah, I get it, but I ain't going to take this show's. What do you think, Mike?
How weird is it that we just talked about an episode with the phone, and here we have another reach out and fuck someone kind of episode, and it's just, very frustrating. And also very obvious as soon as she pulled that card, or he pulled that card out, and it was the Archangel on the front of it. I was like, oh, okay, so he's the Archangel Michael. Okay. All right, got it.
Mike, I was going to ask you, how fast did you figure out that this was the Archangel?
Oh, like within seconds. Yeah, it was just as soon as I saw.
Do you think being named Michael gives you a heads up anytime there's some Michael the Archangel ephemera going on in entertainment?
Well, if you're John Travolta.
Okay, here's the thing.
Is that too specific of an answer?
No, because that's exactly what I wanted to address. Because look behind the scenes here, folks. Father Malone, my name is actually Michael as well. And so I was named specifically for the Archangel. So that fucking piece of shit movie, Michael with John Travolta, where Michael the Archangel is a doofus who loves sugar and line dancing. He is the leader of God's army, you motherfuckers. He's basically heavenly Captain America. Don't treat him like that. And don't treat him like this. He's not Mr. Revenge. He's not Mr. Rourke, like showing you your fantasy was incorrect. This is the wrong angel. This is so wrong-headed on every fucking level.
It's really bad. It's really bad. By the end of it, it's I know speak like this. Oh my god.
That was
episode offensive. We went there. Was that is it? I know it's just in bad taste, like offensive, whatever. Like it's just again, like I don't understand the logic of the episode. It's like someone who is Hispanic is lesser. What the hell episode? Like you missed the fucking you know that phrase like shoot for the moon, you land among the stars. Like you just miss it. You're just in the sun. You're just burning up. You're just burning up.
At least Vic Moreau didn't have a Yiddish accent of the episode of the Twilight Zone.
Well,
let me out of here, please. But I did enjoy the daylight. Yeah.
I like the daylight. Hey, let me tell you.
I do think the episode looked great. Robert Draper, friend of the show, DP here. Like a lot of the shots are really good. It felt like a short film, which is one thing I do like about Tales from the Dark Side, meaning they shot this in New York. The other little bit of anthology it reminded me of was Something to Tide You Over from Creepshow, in that Richard Vickers is recording the deaths of Becky and Harry. He's doing that because he had a personal reason, a vendetta to do it. This woman is recording her calls, her bullying calls that she's so proud of. And
Right.
like I said, Richard Vickers had a personal reason. This woman's just a fucking Looney Tune for.
It should have made her more. I guess this is me, just like me being me. Obvious. Who else would I? She should be worse.
Yeah.
In this kind of show, she should be worse. Make me like similarly to the episode we just talked about with the Yattering and Jack. Like, while I appreciate in that episode, that's the twist. And this one, like, just make her a real fuck. Like, just make her a real fuck, so that when she gets her comeuppance at the end, it needs to be the comeuppance needs to be different. I think just on like I get it on paper. It may, I don't know, even on paper, it's a little.
Here's the thing.
When you have someone
everything she's doing is fucking reprehensible. But the fact is, the actress Maura Swanson, who's still out there working today, everybody, she seems decent at the end of the day. I don't get the idea that she is this bloodthirsty human. And that's where the writing is maybe a failure, because somebody should have said, she's too nice. She needs to be meaner. Like, we need to ramp up how horrible she is. Because she goes on the defensive almost immediately. Like, she starts getting ghostly phone calls. I do think the ghostly phone calls were. I was watching it very, very late at night by myself, and it kind of freaked a little bit. So I'm going to give that to the episode. But that's just because the dead calling you was a freaky idea.
And then they do it, and then they do it
Frequency.
Right. I was gonna say, and then they do it 6 more times though.
Oh, I know. I didn't say it's sustained, but that.
I know. I didn't say you did. I'm just saying. Then it was so effective. They did it 6 more times. It was effective until they let it play for a long time, and then it's just like a woman doing again, the woman is clearly Latina. So it's fine that she's doing the voice, but it's like a very like Mickey Rooney and Breakfast at Tiffany's, like just the most like Hispanic thing where you're just trying to convey a specific thing. And it's just not, I don't like the optics of it, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just fucking, this episode's fucking weird. And when you trivialize another ethnicity for whatever reason, like why does it have to have anything to do with the way the woman talks? Why does it have any? Just make this a white woman talking to another white woman, and then there's no weird optics of it. Yeah. Doesn't really matter as an episode. It's still kind of a waste of time either way, but at least it's not a like muddle-headed waste of time. This just feels like everybody making it. We're probably like looking at one another during this, like, we know what we're making's not great. Somebody's got to get paid to make it. Why not us?
Yeah, we've seen good telemarketing type movies with Sorry to Bother You. We can say a lot about that having flipped the ethnicity and having the black guy calling and trying to sell that stuff so much better than this white woman just calling and badgering people. And yeah, we've seen yuppie scum on this show before, and she should be in that model. It should just be like her with her perfect nails. Maybe she's doing the emery board thing and all that. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't hate her as much as I really want to hate her.
We had an episode with a couple. They had like a neighbor downstairs, the kindly old gentleman who they wanted to raise his rent, so they kept being fucking horrible to him, and we hated them by the end of that episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, where are the teeth here, Tales from the Dark Side? The meanest of all of the anthology, ordinarily.
For He's a Jolly Good Fellow, from that episode, that yuppie is what I think of when I think of yuppies. And that guy in that episode is our hero. And like he learns his lesson, but he doesn't get a comeuppance because that show was even more defanged than this show can be. And this show tends to not be. But with something like this, it's not that it's defanged, it's just misguided in what it's biting, because it doesn't seem to be having any like bite to it at all. Like its bite is nothing. You're like, what's the takeaway here? This woman was terrible and she deserved it. Not really. And she should have deserved it if the punishment is going to be this, because that's the other question. That's the thing I wanted to ask you guys. At the end of this episode, are we led to believe she's going to kill her?
Yeah.
Because he touched her head and was like, here, have her brain tumor too, by the way.
Right, yeah.
Fucking A, man. Oh, okay. Jesus. So that's the expectation at the end then, yeah?
Absolutely.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so question. Did she switch places with the lady? Or is the woman still dead? Or what's the logic here? Or is she just what's
I think
happened?
the woman's still dead.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
dead, and now she has to what she put that woman.
What
She
happens
has
when
to
she-
live her life and be badgered by somebody like.
So this is just a ploy for the Archangel Michael to get this woman to kill herself.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
He's known for that.
okay because that is pretty metal. Is my point. That's pretty fucked up. But the episode. Honestly, would we have enjoyed it a little bit more if the end of the episode had been her like walking to the window and then opening
Yeah.
it? Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that's some sick
Well,
shit
that-
episode.
Overall, it needed to be the level of mean that we're expecting
Right,
from
right.
Darkside.
Yeah, get her to walk up to that window and have her open it, and then it cuts to black or fades to black, probably more. Not just, okay, let us fill in the blanks. No, this is Tales from the Dark Side. Come on. There is subtlety, but not right now. Like, you don't need it right now. Not if you're going to go as broad as this story is going by having the Archangel Michael give a woman a brain tumor by touching her forehead.
Yeah, the Archangel exposition, because he basically just shows up to tell her the things that are happening to her, whereas maybe it could have just happened to her, and that could have been something interesting. Why? Where'd my bed go?
That's what happens in that Twilight Zone, the 2001, is he just starts like his skin starts changing color, his hair starts changing, like it just starts happening. Like it gets there in a more organic way, to your point, that I think would work better in this visual medium that we're watching it in. Right.
Anything else? On the next episode of Midnight Viewing, we'll be taking a look at the next 2 episodes of season 4. Those are Love Hungry and The Deal. Midnight Viewing is a proud member of a Weirding Way media group. Our theme song was composed by HP with an assist by Donald Rubenstein. Until next time, what are you working on? Where can people find it, Chris Stachiw?
Weirdingwaymedia.com is where you can go to find all the things that I work on. My main show, The Culture Cast, is still on a little bit of a hiatus, but that's not permanent. It's temporary. That show will be back, but everything else that I work on monthly or bi-weekly is still up there, including this show. And there's a big backlog of things, as if 690. If you listen to all the episodes of the Culture Cast and you're still expecting more to listen to, it's coming, but there's a lot of episodes to listen to. 691 last time. That's where you can go to listen to everything that I work on and then everything that I don't, like 80s TV Ladies or Mike's show, The Projection Booth, or Father Malone's show, this one, or the one that he has on Patreon, which is more important because that's where you can go to help him out, which is patreon.com/Father Malone. What about you, Mike White? Where can people find you and the things that you...
Pretty much the same darn thing, weirdingwaymedia.com. And yeah, we also have Patreons, Chris and I, patreon.com/culturecast and patreon.com/projection booth. And over there, once a month, we talk about James Bond. And we are blazing through those. We're into the Pierce Brosnan age, and pretty soon we'll be over at the Craig side of things. And I'm hoping for a little Johnny English would be good. That's a little bit of that. How about you, Father Malone?
For me, hey, Midnight Viewers, if you happen to be in the Las Vegas area, October 4th and 5th, stop by the Silverton Casino at the Nightmare in Vegas Horror Convention and Car Show. There you're going to find a booth featuring Midnight Viewing. That booth will be featuring not only me, but HP and Mr. Chris Stachiw. Mike White won't be there because he hates.
That's right.
He hates the heat in the fall time of Vegas.
Detroit versus everybody, indeed.
Yeah.
As for me, they said the Patreon, check us out on Mondays. That's Father Malone's Weekly Roundup. And every Friday, if you're not listening to this show talking about Tales from the Dark Side, you can probably hear a fest. We've got a Yaucha Fest. We're looking at the Predator movies. We've got a Rick Moranis Fest going on by now. So check that one out. Oh, and in early October, we're going to be looking at the Books of Blood, the Clive Barker. We're going to be looking at the films based on the Books of Blood by Clive Barker. Anyway, oh my God, I'm tired. Until next time, try to enjoy the daylight, everybody.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and I, we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production podcast network. We hope to see you online.